Aloha and welcome to Tiki Tuesday Talks. Happy to be back. We got a very important topic for you this time, talking about pivoting the pandemic, how to make bars work, what to do amidst all this. Let's welcome our guests. Karl, you're not there, but the bar looks good. We'll get to you in a moment. Chelsea, what's up? Where are you ringing in from?
Hey, I'm here coming to you live from Baltimore.
Balmer.
Yeah, Balmer.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, excited to have you. Where are you at specifically?
I am at home in the Hamden neighborhood, and it's quiet down here.
A little bit out of the city.
Yeah, it's a little bit further north, and we're along the Jones Falls here in the building where I am at. So it feels a little like you're in the country in the middle of the city, which is kind of silly. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Right on. Karl, looking good, man.
What's up? How's it going?
What's happening?
I'm all right.
You're at the bar. Tell us a little more.
Well, this is 67 Orange Street. This is actually my first bar. Since then, I've opened a few others, Solomon and Cuff and the Anchor. This is home.
Yeah, you got there pretty quick. How far do you live from there?
So 67 Orange Street's in Harlem, and the bar is on 113th. I live on 123rd, so it's pretty easy. The Anchor's in New Haven, though, so got a little bit of a trek to get there. Nah, it's a little bit of a trek. I'm actually heading there right after this, so
life of an entrepreneur, man.
Yes, it is.
I'm heading nowhere ever, basically. After this.
Well, considering what's happening right now, that's probably the best place to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's weird. I went from literally being in a different city every week to being in the same place for 9 straight months, which is an interesting change of pace. But hey, here we are. We're doing it.
Yeah, well, we all have an excuse to put on an extra 15 pounds now. So
Right.
that's all. I'm like, all right,
Yeah. Steva.
Hi. Well, I was just saying before we went on that I made some shortbread today. So, speaking of the extra 15 pounds.
Yeah, I don't even really know what that is. Can you tell us what that is?
What shortbread is?
Yes.
It's like a butter cookie. So I made a chocolate butterscotch. So it's 3 layers. So it's a butter cookie on the bottom and then butterscotch and then dark chocolate.
Is it always this way? Because I know what shortbread is generally, but I've never seen it like that. Is that like your iteration?
Well, I found this recipe on the New York Times because, regular shortbread, I'm not going to say it's boring, but
it's boring.
It's a great base for other things.
Got it. Understood. I do like to look at the recipes and know that I'll never make any of them, but they look really nice.
Listen, 80% of them are very workable.
I believe that. Not for me, but I believe it for someone with normal skill set. Aaron, what's happening?
What's going on? How is
You're in the
everybody?
car. That's unexpected.
Yeah, these mean streets of Baltimore, I got to keep it moving,
Right.
Actually, I'm probably a couple of blocks from Chelsea's neighborhood. So, we're kind of in the same rural oasis of Jones Falls.
At some point, he'll just drive by my window like this.
Yes. Hi. Hello. How you
Throw
doing?
some mixers.
Yes.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, we're preparing for anywhere between 5 to a foot of snow tomorrow. So I'm trying to get all of that errands and get some stuff done before we actually get real snow, hopefully.
Good luck with it.
Yeah.
Don't miss that, to be honest with you. Awesome. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Bye.
Let's get to it over here. So really quick on the logistical side. Karl, you introduce yourself, owner of, as mentioned, 67 Orange in Harlem, great cocktail bar, opened in the middle of the last economic crisis. So that's kind of where we're starting this rooting. Now 12 years old. as well Anchor in New Haven and Connecticut. I'll let you get into the depths of your background, but I think what is cool in particular for me is we come from a shared background, which is very rare for spirits industry, for me to be talking to anybody who can speak that language. So that'll be pretty cool to kind of chat that. Of course, we're both kind of not doing it right now, but sort of doing it at the same time. So as usual, chat box and questions. If you're on Crowdcast or Facebook, hit us up. Please do share the event. The tip jar, Venmo, Karl-Williams-3. Presentation 30 to 40, cocktail session after, and then we'll bring Chelsea back on. Let's get us back here. And we'll flip to yours now.
Here we go. So are we showing up good?
We're showing up great. Looks perfect.
All right. Thank you, Peter, for inviting me to do this talk. Obviously, it is very relevant and important now. We are all kind of just figuring this out. This is a crazy, crazy time, and it almost seems to get more complicated by the day. Here in New York, they just ended indoor dining, and now we have a snowstorm on the way, and which means no outdoor either. So it's just a crazy, crazy time, and we're all just trying to figure out how to survive. So I'm really hoping that what I can do today is kind of take everyone through some of the things that I've learned in my journey. And see if those things can work for others as they try to work through this time. So a little bit about my journey. Like you said, Pete, I have a very sort of different, experience or background than a lot of folks in the industry. I went to Yale and majored in electrical engineering, and went to work for Procter & Gamble in manufacturing for a couple years, and then realized that so I used my degree for about 2 years. People always ask, did you ever use your degree? Well, I used my degree for about 2 years, a little bit less, and then
officially used
it. Right. And then sort of discovered that the world at Procter really revolves around the marketers and brands and brand building, and I wanted a piece of that action, and so I was able to transfer with the company into the brand division and move to Puerto Rico because I didn't want to go to Cincinnati.
Better choice.
So
better choice.
Yeah, I was 20, like at 22. Like the idea of going to Cincinnati was like, I'm a New Yorker, so nothing against anyone on from Cincinnati. But, I thought Puerto Rico, I could be in a tropical island. I'm doing that. So I went to Puerto Rico, which is great because, became fluent in Spanish, learned to learn another language, another culture, which is pretty awesome. But I was there for 2 years working, doing U.S. Hispanic marketing for Procter on laundry detergent. And then I left Procter because after a while doing laundry detergent got kind of stale for me. And I left Procter in Puerto Rico and moved to New York and went to work for Pepsi. And then I spent another 6 years and change at Pepsi, in roles of increasing responsibility, started as a U.S. Hispanic, we were saying Latino, doing Latino marketing across brands. And then I moved on to be the brand manager of Mountain Dew. And then I moved into innovation.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then I moved into innovation for a while, and then so that was kind of my story there. So the thing that was always kind of a part of this for me was that I was always interested in being an entrepreneur. Like the idea of being an entrepreneur was always at the heart of what I wanted to do. It's why I chose electrical engineering, because I wanted to create. It's why I moved into branding and marketing, because I wanted to understand how business and how creating brands really worked. And so the idea of being an entrepreneur was always like heavy for me. So while in Puerto Rico, I saw that there weren't any coffee shops like a Starbucks style, like loungy, comfy, and so I was interested in trying to open one in Puerto Rico, but got the call from Pepsi, went to work there, and kind of shelved that idea. But when I got to New York, I wanted to live in a community that was kind of had some interest to it, that was kind of intriguing. So I came to Harlem and discovered that the same thing was happening here. The coffee shop vibe that I was looking for I wasn't finding here. I was finding downtown and other places, but not here. So I decided to open a coffee shop here in Harlem, and that was my first foray into being an entrepreneur. So I opened Society Coffee. That was back in 2005, and then still was kind of having this debate about, do I leave Pepsi? Do I stay? Do I continue to be go on this marketing path towards becoming a head of marketing or CMO, or do I leave and become a full-time entrepreneur? And so at the time I was working on a project in innovation, discovered the world of mixology because I was talking to mixologists for ideas on creating new products.
Wow.
And met Steve Olson, and his energy was just so infectious. And he took me to some of these great bars, and I was blown away. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to make that leap. I think I'm going to open a bar and leave this corporate life behind and see where this takes me. And so that's what I did. I opened 67 Orange Street. I left Pepsi, in 2008, opened 67 Orange Street. And here we are 12 years later. Since then, I've opened 2 other bars, the Anchor in New Haven and Solomon and Cuff, which was a rum bar that we actually closed last year.
So just a quick couple items on that. I'm sure we could talk all about that, but that's not really related to everything here. But one is I went in with the same mentality of going into consumer product marketing. I worked for Danone and Red Bull.
Right.
And just the idea that, hey, maybe I want to own my own company. Maybe I want to be a general manager at a bigger company. And I kind of learned really fast.
Exactly.
I want to be a general manager at a big company. And I had the same also challenge of like, when do you leave, right? Because you've got somebody that pays you. I left, pretty much didn't pay myself for 6 years, which is cool. But it is like a push-pull. Like, do you leave the nest of that? When's the right time? When do you just go for it? How do you figure that out? So,
no,
I mean, go through it almost at the same time. Honestly, I was a few years after where I did that, but it's pretty funny. The parallel.
No, that's wild. I mean, to be honest, and if we go forward, fast forward now, 4 restaurants, bars later, I like someone will say, okay, if you get, and this, if you get to a certain level, that back then it was senior brand manager, which was a executive 1 position there, which is where I was. It's the golden handcuffs. Like, you don't leave then. You go be a CMO somewhere, head of marketing somewhere. And, so you do a couple more roles there, and then you go. And so most of my peers now are in huge jobs. But there's never been a day where I regretted leaving Pepsi. I wish I made the money now my peers make. But I love the freedom of it. I love being able to create and bring ideas to life. I love the spirit of the bar industry. I could do a whole talk on whether or not on what direction I think people should go right now with this and how the industry. I do think the industry is actually becoming, unfortunately, it's becoming more of a platform because it's getting harder and harder to make money in the bar business. Just pressure from labor movements and regulation and the like. It's just gotten harder. But it is a great platform, and I continue to be very bullish on, and I love the industry. So,
right on, man.
So to tell you a little bit about my the 2 bars, 67 Orange Street, it's been open 12 years now. The Anchor has been almost 5 years. Tons of press. If you Google either location, you'll see the stories are just there's so many great stories about us, and we continue to be as relevant as ever. I mean, so after all those years, you can start to lose some of your relevancy, and people start to care a little bit less. But for us, luckily that just hasn't been our story. We are not luckily. I mean, I can tell you why, and that's some of the things we'll talk about here. But it is. We are our sales at both places. Prior to this, we were doing as well as ever. So that is like we're very, very proud of the businesses themselves. So right now, we were offering indoor dining up until until we closed it this week. We still are doing indoor dining at the Anchor. You can do it in New Haven, but just not in New York. But outdoor dining, we do takeout and delivery. We have a great takeout cocktail program, where our cocktails are in bottles, and we can take them out. We have cocktail kits, which are you can buy a whole kit, which is a full bottle of alcohol, as well as everything you need to be able to make any of the cocktails that to make the cocktail that comes for that kit. We're also doing gift cards. We have masks that we're doing that are branded, and we're doing a lot of virtual holiday parties where, just like this, I'll talk to you about how to make cocktails and do a fun and engaging conversation, and while people are at home making the drinks and having a good time. So those are all our current offerings. So the key here is this is sort of where we pivoted to. Like we were 67 Orange was a speakeasy, like this sort of dark bar where you couldn't. I mean, it's dark curtains, you couldn't see inside, but you'd walk through the curtains and have this whole experience. And then the Anchor, historic bar, very moody and all, but it was all about what happened inside. And now it's about what happens outside and what we, the things that we do in terms of offerings we do and takeout and delivery and everything else. So that's sort of how we pivoted the programs, and it's been working for us. But there's a lot more to it, and I'll go into a lot of that. The results have been strong. 67 Orange, we're at 80% of our pre-COVID levels. So to hit that kind of result in New York City, obviously, is huge. Very few of our peers or the other bars around us are anywhere close to that. And so that was a huge number. At Anchor, we were actually able to double our business. And, our business today is about twice the size it's. I mean, we were having a sort of a down year in 2019 as it was. So we're back to the levels we were at our peak year of 2018. So we were back to those peak levels of 2018, which was, again, 200% of where we were kind of the year before. So
it's amazing. What I'll say is, one, congrats on that. And two,
thank you.
Really interesting from my side as somebody who has the spirit, interacts with people like yourself, and seeing the variety of approaches that people take. And of course, it's hard and it's weird and regulations are challenging, they're changing all the time. But I can see a marked difference between people who are trying to figure out how to deal with it and react to it as best they can, and people who are just like waving the white flag. And it's not a judgment. I get it. Might make sense. But, it's exciting for me to see people doing what you're doing for the future of where we're going, right? Because we need people like you innovating, figuring out how to get through it, staying committed to good programs to help get the word out about great craft spirits and things like that are out there too. So, I think it's awesome to see. And I've seen a wide variety of approaches, if you will, to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's hustle, right? It's like you figure it out, you figure out how to make it happen.
Right.
Again, that's actually the goal of this is to sort of provide some ideas on how to think about like the thought process, because everyone's gonna the right approach. There is no cookie cutter. This is the perfect approach for everyone, right? It's more about figuring it out. And so what I'm going to provide for you in the next several slides are some ways to kind of figure it out, how to make these decisions.
Cool.
All right. So there are 6 lessons. Collaborate, stay aware. I could have said stay woke. Move fast, Guard your cash.
Love that one. Yep. Feel that intensely.
Yeah, man. Stick to what you do best and communicate continuously. So those are our 6 lessons. Collaborate, stay woke, move fast, guard your cash, stick to what you do best, and communicate continuously. So let's dig into that. And one story, I can tell you that kind of really speaks to this. And I learned this lesson very early on. In 2009, I opened 67 Orange in December of 2008. And everyone knows that 2007 to 2009 is what they call the Great Recession. It was the biggest economic decline in this country since the Great Depression. And obviously we're matching or beating that now with what's happened due to COVID. But that was the original Great Recession. And unlike this current economic downturn driven by COVID, there was in 2007 to 2009, there was not sort of a universal recognition of a problem that needed to be solved for everyone. So banks got bailed out, big business got support, but small business and entrepreneurs were kind of left out in the cold. I had just opened this business in Harlem because Harlem kind of prior to these years was just this emerging sort of burgeoning neighborhood where I could just see the real potential. And a bunch of us saw it and we're like, hey, let's do this. Let's open businesses here. And then the market sort of, this huge downturn happens. Development just falls off. There's nothing happening. Society Coffee was under scaffolding for 3 years before we just were forced to close it. So it was just a really, really kind of challenging time to be in. And there wasn't any PPP or EIDL or Zoom, holiday parties to do. And so a group of us got together and said, hey, you know what? We are all very smart people with great backgrounds. Some of us had made the jump from corporate like I had. Some of us had just been in the game for a long time doing whatever we did. And we got together around one of the tables at society and we said, if we get together, if we put our heads together, we can really figure out how to survive this. And we realized that one of the big problems at the time was that as people were sort of coming around towards the end of this time and they were starting to go out again, they weren't coming to Harlem. They were going other places. And it was because they didn't believe that Harlem was a great place to go. It wasn't the right place to go for that sort of culinary and cultural, experience, that shopping experience, whatever it may be. And so that was our goal, was to change that, was to make that, and so it started out, Harlem Park to Park was formed. Again, we were 9 businesses at that point. Today, it's over 250 businesses. 2018 was picked one of the top civic organizations in New York City, top 100 civic organizations in New York State. Sorry, and the support that organization has been able to provide for all of us, for its members, has been huge in being able to survive. Since 2008. So when I saw that this time, I kind of started to think about what were some of the things that made that so important, and there were 2 for me, and it kind of leads to this sort of the next bullet points here. Was one of the things that we did was just sort of honest venting and brainstorming. We sat around a table and we said to each other, like, what's really going on? Like, not what, the front we want to share, not, oh, I'm doing great, everything's all, nah, this ish is hard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Let it out, man. It's all good. No censorship here.
All right. I always got to check on that. But it was like, so we were like, yo, this stuff is really hard. And, maybe we could figure out solutions together. But just that being able to hear honest problems, honest, like, answers.
Exactly. This is one thing.
That, like, honest sort of like, this is where I'm at. That really, really made a difference in, in like just being able to think, just being able to come up with interesting solutions. So, and so that's one of the tools that I did a lot of sort of early on in this pandemic. I reached out to some of the other members of Harlem Park to Park who I had relationships with, and others, and just had honest conversations. Like, I'm the vice chair of the board of Harlem Park to Park right now. And so some of the other business owners, we kind of like, what can we do? How can we help other members? Actually, the takeout cocktail program that we put together at 67 kind of came out of that initial brainstorm about how can we really make this work and some of the ideas and things like that. So I'm also on the board of the New York Hospitality Alliance. And again, group of business owners who of hospitality business owners, bar, restaurant. And so being able to hear that regular exchange of ideas was huge, and being able to figure out the right moves to make, figuring out the best ways to go about getting financing, figuring out which loans to get when, figuring out how to balance, your programs, like all of this. There were great conversations there. So again, the power of collaborating.
I think what you're saying that's really interesting to me is you spend a lot of time having these conversations that are either, oh yeah, we're doing great, which is clearly bullshit, or just kind of mopey, as opposed to, all right, let's be real about it. What is going on? And then how are you tackling it? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? Like creating ideas to self-serve and, figure out how to get through it. So I think that's really good. Also pretty funny that you're drinking a Coke after you just told us about working for
Pepsi. No. Hopefully there's no one from Pepsi on here. They'll call me a traitor.
Anyway, back to you.
So the Hospitality Alliance, and so these are sort of, these are bigger groups of individuals, and so I highly recommend everyone's listening to trying to figure out, like, if there are organizations that are similar, if there's a great chamber of commerce in your area, join it, get involved, listen to what's going on, check out the webinars, but also, find opportunities to meet with other folks that you have relationships with and collaborate on what you do next. And so these next three are really great examples of that. Death & Co. is opened up just about half a year before us, maybe a year before us. So again, one of we're in a very select small group of the oldest bars in New York, oldest cocktail bars in New York City. And Dave Kaplan from there gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, Karl, I saw a story, about you in 67, and it just sort of sparked my interest, and just like, why don't we collaborate on doing something together? Put both of our names together, put the story out about two of New York City's oldest and best bars, collaborate, and let's see what happens." And it was huge. I mean, we did a bar swap. A couple of us went down to Death & Co. for a couple of days. A couple of their bartenders came up here for a couple of days, and we put together. We did featured drinks from the other person's bar. So it was a bar menu from Death & Co. was offered at 67 for 2 days, and a bar menu from 67 was offered at Death & Co. for a few days. And then we did a collaborative cocktail that we bottled, and we donated the proceeds of selling that cocktail to Harlem Park to Park. So there's a charitable aspect of this as well. And it was huge for us. Press, multiple stories, straight business. We had our biggest day. The program was we had our biggest day of the year, one night of the program. And that's kind of even going back pre-COVID. This was our biggest day of the year. It was one of those nights, and then they had their biggest day, since the start of COVID on one of those nights as well. So it was a really great thing for us, great exposure, and again, spirit of collaborating. The second one is super cool.
Just real quick, Dave is great, and I think is a good example. What you're saying is like finding people who are creative, disciplined about their thinking, whatever, who you can go to, like. I talk to Dave about stuff sometimes, even though we're not exactly doing the same thing. We actually had Alex on, but those guys are awesome. They're really creative thinkers. They're really disciplined. And I think that's a good example of who's in your network that's like that you can ping pong ideas off of, that you can find some, creative collaboration, mentorship, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I mean, it's very easy to work. You know, David's wife Jenna was in PR. I mean, is in PR and advertising, and so it like for me the great thing in talking with both of them and making this all happen was just how it was like talk. I mean, it was what I was used to talk. It was language that we both understood very well. It was a way of working together. There was, like you said, very organized thinking, and so that all went to be able to create a very powerful program that had a strong impact. This next one here, I'm particularly proud of, is called the Harlem Biscuit Company. It should be biscuit, not biscuity, but I was feeling biscuity at the moment, I guess. The Harlem Biscuit Company is it's a local business that was kind of just sort of shacking up where they could, so they would do a pop-up at this location, or that location with other businesses. And I got to talking to the owner and I said, why don't we do one? Like, we're not open during the day. We're a bar, right? Like, we're sleeping when he's selling biscuits. So, I was like, what if you came in and we worked out some sort of arrangement and you were here during the day? And then by the time we're open, like you're closing down, and he was like, awesome, I love it. And so we put this thing together and we have a revenue share program that is part of it. And now all of a sudden our business is operating almost 24 hours a day. So yeah, the city's making us close at 10, but I added those hours back with without any cost, by bringing in this program in during the day. The biscuits are amazing. They are, they're very well sought after, and it's been a huge success and great for both of us. It's a joint venture, so one of the things, people will ask is, does this, are we subletting out our space or anything? No, we're not. And that's important because a lot of folks have subletting clauses in their leases. So if you're doing anything like this, it's important that it is actually a joint venture and you're actually working together and sharing resources to make these things happen.
That's a creative solve. Yeah.
And then the last program here. A friend of mine, who some people probably know, Marcus Samuelson. I'm not name dropping. Okay, I know. We actually are friends. We lived across the street from each other for a while. He's been in my. We're friends. Okay, So Marcus and I were talking, and he was doing a program which at the time didn't make sense for us, but it inspired what I'm about to talk about, which is so the World Central Kitchen. He collaborated with the World Central Kitchen to do meals for for first responders and homeless and folks in need. And so the idea was the World Central Kitchen would pay for these meals, and the restaurants could keep staff in and create these meals and get them out there. So this was something that he helped. We weren't able to do that program at the time because we just we were so focused on our sort of what the bar was. But the idea stuck with me, and now with the Harlem Biscuit Company in here, we have a kitchen staff in here during the day. And so I got a call from Madison Square Garden about feeding the homeless, and same thing. Great program. We're able to put some meals together and get these meals out to these homeless shelters. $15 a meal, over 200 meals. That's a nice little check, right? So again, all this from collaborating, putting your heads together, working with people who have great minds and who are also trying to solve this to come up with joint solutions.
Cool.
So stay woke. If you are watching this right now, then that's great. You already get that idea. And it's the idea that there is tons of information out there. So, my story, I actually got COVID very early on. I got it at the end of March. And so I had just rolled out my takeout cocktail program I was the only person on the staff at that point. So I was making. We had to do cocktails with food, so I was making soup, putting it in, packaging it up, sending it out with the cocktails. But it was just me, and then I got COVID, and so obviously the program was shut down. My GM had gotten COVID right before that, so we were both kind of down. But what I used that time for, when I was awake, not like and because I have problems breathing sometimes, and what I used that time for was really to like learn. I watched every webinar that I could. I read every publication that I could. I would jump in on Zoom meetings, attend seminars, and all of those things kind of gave me the toolkit and helped me think about it, so that when I came out from my 2 weeks, I was really sick for about 10 days, and the last 4 sort of better and kind of getting myself together. But when I got back here, I was really able to bring all that information, and I had a head start on kind of doing the right things or the things that needed to be done. So my pivots, I was thinking about while I was sitting there, laying there under with my blanket pulled up to my chin. So just stay woke, stay attached to what's there. The longer this is drawing on, I mean, at the beginning, I feel like there was a ton of like everybody was talking and but now there's sort of a Zoom meeting fatigue, and a lot of people are just over the whole thing and all that. And it's really easy right now to just be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I don't need to pay attention. I got it. Or I'm just over it. Or like you said, I'm just sort of, I don't care anymore. Or I'm waving the white flag, even though I haven't officially done it yet. What I'm telling you is stay woke, stay aware, know what's going on, and you will see these opportunities. Don't kind of fall, victim to that mentality.
I think it's a really good point, because even with us on this, like, engagement when we started this was a different place than it is now, and I get it, right? But I think it's a good reminder to anybody who's running a business that even though it feels like you're running uphill constantly, and maybe this activity or that activity is not going to be impacted, keeps you sharp, keeps you relevant, keeps conversations going, and present. And I think that's a huge part of it, the way we think about it from our side as well,
Yeah. I mean, and that last bullet there about be present and be visible, that's kind of the other side of it. One part is getting the information and staying aware of what's going on. The other is inserting yourself into some of that. So, having an opinion, having a point of view, and being willing to express those things, being, offering to get involved or do something like what I'm doing here, what that does is it also opens up opportunity. And so, it's one of those things that, and it makes people more willing to talk with you and share with you, even challenge you, which is great. Like, I mean, someone may see this and say, hey, well, what about this? And that thought could spark something else for me, and another way of thinking about things. So being present and being visible is a key part of staying woke. This next one is important. The idea of move fast, but I say not too fast. So the best example of that is, our best way to think about that is in a time like this, things are constantly changing. There's always new information, new regulations, regulations that change from what they were a couple days ago. And if you move too fast, you're going to like go too far and do a bunch of things, and then those things you basically wasted your money and your time, because the rules will change or the circumstances will change, and then what do you do, right? A great example of that is right now indoor dining is shut down. So when we were allowed to go out and build outdoor sort of structures, a lot of people built literally indoor structures outside. They were like, it makes more sense for me to close the structure fully and function under indoor dining rules than it would be to have an outdoor space that has 2 sides open, which allows it to go on outdoor dining rules. But what happens? They shut down indoor dining, and now your entire space is useless. You got to go and redo it, take walls down, and spend more money and time and lose more business.
Right.
So it's about kind of taking in, but you also didn't want to move so slow. There was one point right now. I mean, we're installing a heater in our outdoor space right now, and one of the things that, but we've had the heater for a while, and the reason is because heaters were selling out. So we knew we had to jump on that and get that heater right away, even if we weren't going to install it right away.
Yeah, it's good.
So the secret here is move fast, but not too fast. And then when you do something that just doesn't work, fail faster. None of us have time right now, or have extra resources to chase lines of business that aren't going to work for us. So if something's not working for you, move on, pivot and move on. It's just, it's too critical right now that, that we make the right decisions. And, because losses right now impact our business in a greater way.
Yep.
Guard your cash. So, cash is king. Managing cash flow is crucial. It's so easy. There are lots of people who got PPP and EIDL loans, and those loans were gone within a month or two. And I hear all the rationale. Well, I don't want the extra debt, so there's a forgiveness program. So I'm going to make sure I spend it all right away. This is something that may sound a little crazy, but it's actually better to have cash than forgiveness. Right now, I think most people would prefer to have that PPP money in their hands than
interest.
I'm sorry?
Especially at 1% interest.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. All the money that you're getting here, the interest rates are so low, you're never going to get money that cheaply again. So if you burn it all and it's gone, and then the pandemic is raging on like it's doing, you have nothing to work with, and every bit of money out there is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so this is very inexpensive money. Having money on you is the best place to be. Reduce inventory and menu size. We used to have a menu of 50 cocktails. Our storeroom was just like, looked like you were walking into Astor Wine and Spirits, right? It was like, it was beautiful. I mean, we were a cocktail bar. We took pride in having just about everything that every spirit that man has ever made. That's not the thing to do right now, because basically what that is cash sitting on a shelf. And so you want to avoid that as much as possible. We reduced our menu. Our cocktail menu right now is around 20 cocktails, about less than half the size. So we have to store less inventory. We can have more of the items that we're using, so we get better pricing on those. And so this becomes a really a great way to sort of reduce some of your holding costs and give you more cash in hand. And obviously it goes without saying, you're managing every cost, avoid spending extra. This is not the time, to repaint your kitchen. It's just, what I'm saying? Focus on, what's visible and what you need, in the moment. So, stick to what you do best. This was a little bit, it can be sort of tricky to think about. It's like, well, I'm pivoting, right? So let me go and try to figure out things and do different things and all that. But it's stick to what you do best. Like right now, it becomes more important than ever to sort of think about and to focus on, your strengths. And again, this sort of ties to the idea of that smaller window of inventory. More than ever, when you think about that, it's also like people are coming into our restaurants and bars for things that they know. And because we have these outdoor spaces that are creating greater visibility for our bars, you're going to have a lot of new people walking into your space to check it out. People who may not know that, sort of more esoteric spirit. And so having spirits that people know that they can identify with is sort of an example here of sort of doing what's simple, sticking to what you know, doing what you do best. Being creative here, like create around what you know. Again, this is not like I could have said, I'm going to start my own biscuit company and start selling my own biscuits and, Google a recipe on how to make, great buttermilk biscuits. But that would have been inefficient and it would have increased my costs. And it's not what I know how to do. And so what I did instead is I brought folks in who knew how to do that kind of work. And, and it made that, brought in the creativity, but did it in an efficient way, allowing me to do what I do best and them to do what they do best.
I should have cropped that one out. Use esoteric spirits that you love and people don't know is actually the right.
Well, I was barely esoteric spirit anymore.
There you go. All right.
And this last one is essential and sort of rounds this all out. Is whatever you do, it's the whole adage of a tree falls in the woods. Make sure that you are continuously communicating. Governor Cuomo won an Emmy for his daily news briefings, right? But the reason was because it was cathartic for all of us. It was amazing to hear him every day come in and do these talks and provide all this information when that was all we wanted, to really know what was going on, how it was working, and when it was going to happen. So it was sort of this continuous flow of communication that also resulted in the great results that New York had. And so, this is important for us too. Our email newsletter was going out sporadically. Now it's a weekly thing. It's always out.
I didn't even have one, man. I couldn't even. I was like, wow, I can't believe we're not even doing a newsletter. Like, you got to be doing this stuff.
But people are home. People are reading. People have more time right now to do certain things. So yeah. I mean, it is literally one of those times where, the more that people that like we look at our stats and we're doing a 26% open rate, and our list has grown and grown and grown. We capture names continuously from everyone who walks in here. We capture their information when they make a purchase, and so we're able to grow. And obviously they opt in ultimately, but we've been able to grow our email list, tremendously during the pandemic, and it gets a great response. So we use the newsletter for depth and to really get into the information. And we use social media for content and impact. So fun, interesting stuff, cocktail stories, like watching us make drinks, how they're made, like hero shots, anything like that. Like that's for social media, and that's sort of a little bit different than what we do in the newsletter. And then we actually took another step. Our window, like I said, we were a speakeasy. The last thing we wanted you to know what was going on in here unless you knew. That was part of the allure. But today I'm looking at our window, we have a couple beautiful shots of cocktails actually on our window. And you would imagine, okay, wow, are you a Chinese store? No, what we've done is we are really taking the idea of communication to a next level because it's so important right now. And like I said, so many new people are discovering us because of these outdoor structures and walking in here for the first time and trying to figure out what we're about. And I don't want to lose them because I know the day they taste one of our drinks, they'll be coming here forever. And so that's what that last point is about.
Right on. It's great.
So that's the presentation. I mean, I hope that those listening and you've all got some really good thoughts and ideas on how to pivot your program and how to think about, managing through this time and making the right choices, right now to survive. But I think it's also a great time to have a drink.
Yeah, perfect timing. Let's do it.
All right, so this cocktail right here, I call a night in Brazil, and it is it's a take on a New York sour. So again, I'm a New Yorker. I got to big up New York, so this is also
great drink.
It's a take on a New York sour. New York sour is basically a whiskey sour with a float of wine on top, generally made with bourbon, But as with a lot of sort of classic cocktails, any classic cocktail is ultimately a formula that you can use to build off of, riff off of here. And for me, one of the things I love about cachaça is just the richness of the flavor and all the different herbaceous qualities that are there. You're talking about basically an agricole spirit, or coming straight from sugarcane, and so you get all those flavors. And so I just started riffing off of flavor here and putting a bunch of stuff here. It's almost my joke is it's a salad, but it's only in kind of the idea that a lot of things are coming together here. When a salad is, it's not that direction, but that's what's happening here. So I'll go ahead and get started making this drink. We'll start. It's 3/4 of fresh squeezed lemon. And then we'll go kind of working across. We make this rosemary syrup. So we'll do a little 1/4 ounce of the rosemary. 1/4 ounce of Benedictine. A little splash of amaretto. And this great Kuiper triple sec. We'll do a 1/2 ounce of that. So, the other thing in cocktails, everyone knows, it's about balance. And, here you're thinking, okay, it's only 3/4 of lemon. How do we sort of get that balance of sour and sweet here, which is why we're using the wine. And so I'm using a drier cab that's a little bit sort of murky and kind of becomes a balancing agent here, a bitter, if you will, to kind of to make this from being from being too sweet. All right, so last but not least, we'll go with Avoir.
Good choice.
Thank you for sending that Amberana. I fucking love it. I was going to use the Amberana in making this, but I was like, then I'd be showing off to everyone. But oh man, that's some good juice there, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right, so let's throw some ice in here. Now, got a little nice cube of ice going here for us too.
It's funny. Almost every time everybody's making drinks sitting down at like a desk, it's really nice to see somebody at a bar.
Be in a bar? Yeah. I'm bringing you in. This is the best I could do for you right now.
Yeah.
You can actually be here in 67. At least you get to experience 67 a little bit right now.
Feels good.
All right. That smells absolutely amazing. Thank you, Pete. All right. And we'll finish this off. And so the only thing I don't know is if anyone's actually drinking with me right now. I can't see you all, but
yeah, it's hard to know.
I hope so.
Yeah, let's throw the rest. That looks amazing. I love that idea, the cab, by the way, of thinking about it as the bitter. I feel like usually when you get a float of wine, it is not a flavor profile like that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And if anyone wants to talk more, or you can always reach out to me. This is my information here. IG at Mr. Karl Franz. My email is karlfranz67 Orange Street. You can also Karl at 67 Orange Street. You can also check out either of the company sites at any time. And order takeout, order delivery. Come visit us. Grab a cocktail kit for Christmas, a gift card for Christmas. A branded mask. And we hope to see you soon.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna talk to you about that for my sister who's in Brooklyn right now. Get her a little
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Let's do that. Dude, thank you so much. That was really awesome. Super interesting, really on point for the time. I wish I had one of those in front of me right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I know you got to get running, get to the other joint, but keep doing what you're doing. It's impressive. I know it's hard. I can relate, but it's exciting to see people like yourself, keeping creative, bearing through it, and look forward to better times.
Cheers. There we go. What's in the water bottle though?
Just water. It's really boring. I used to drink on all these, and then I realized that, I'm just drinking too much, and you're sitting here like nervous energy drinking. So I was like, all right, it's the middle of the day for me on the West Coast. This isn't really functional to go handle my other meetings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
I slowed it down.
Well, this is the only one. I got a long drive ahead of me, so I'm gonna.
Hey, what was that? Good. Yeah, looks amazing. All right, man. Thank you so much. Good luck with it. Look forward to seeing you in the new year. Let's bring these guys back. Hey, guys. All right, Chelsea, you ready for 5 questions?
5 questions. Here we go.
All right. No pressure. No pressure. All right. Weirdest thing you saw at Wildwood. Oh, what's up? We got a little visitor.
Hi.
Back to you. Weirdest thing you saw at Wildwood.
What isn't weird in Wildwood?
That's a good point. I haven't had that answer.
I couldn't put my finger. Couldn't put a finger on one thing.
Yeah. It's a fair point. All right. I'm getting some residual here. I don't know who that is. Probably you. Yep, there it is. Aaron, always on the move. All right. Favorite meal that you ate in Wildwood that my dad did not make?
Oh, that your dad did not make?
Yeah, everybody says I had to change the question because it's just too repetitive.
Okay. I was about to say I'm like Maryland born and raised, so like a good seafood boiled clam bake situation.
I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But
your dad made that.
You know what I mean? I can't have everybody saying the same answer. That's no longer interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, Jamaica be crazy, always choice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
that's a good one.
Primo hoagies, delicious.
Yeah. I think there was, I'm totally blanking because it was a couple of years ago that I was with y'all in Wildwood. But when we had, we got rained out and we went to do mini golf, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there was something on the boardwalk that just like,
Yeah, I mean, all the grease on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
I was going to say everything fried. Everything fried on the boardwalk.
Everything fried. Anything you could dream of.
Hot dogs, amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. All right.
Listen, I'm like 90% boardwalk food. So especially during Tiki by the Sea. Like I have to go buy tickets and I have to go to the boardwalk and I'm like, Pete, I got to go to the boardwalk. And he's like, again? And I'm like, I'll be right back. I got to go to the boardwalk.
Where's Steva? I don't know. Somewhere. At one point, actually, I had heroes for, it was, I think I had 11 in 5 days. So I literally had it for lunch and dinner, and there was an extra added, and it was amazing.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
Well, that sounds great. Now I want a hero marathon.
Well, I want to eat a lot. I haven't had lunch yet. All right. Show us your favorite Steva face.
and what it is it's saying, I'm not going to correct you right now, but also bless your heart. Like, that's what the face translates to.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, that was good. That was well done. All right. Favorite Tiki by the Sea memory?
Bob Wagner and I both having captain's hats and then crossing arms and giving each other a layback.
Nice.
It was pretty dope.
He's a gem.
I know. We love Bob Wagner.
The captain's hat, the robe.
Especially the trip home.
Oh, yeah?
Chelsea.
Yes.
In the
The longest drive that ever happened. It was so long and so weird. But it was great.
And slightly dangerous. Slightly dangerous.
And it's
very much so, yes. Right? Yes.
Yeah. It was we left. I gotta say, Chelsea was saving lives that day. That's all I got. literally saving lives.
Sorry, I wasn't there.
Tell us what's going on in Baltimore. What's up with you?
What's up with me? Let's see. I'm working with a few clients right now. I've gone to full-time consulting because I just thought that would be the best way for me to be of use in this time, just to help as many people out as possible in small ways. So that's what I've been doing. I've got big things up my sleeve that I can't talk about right now, but they're big.
Wow,
and it's
big
fun.
All right.
And I feel endlessly fortunate at the end of 2020 to have something really exciting to look forward to in 2021.
Love it. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Very good. Steve, what do you got?
Well, I mean, my love for Chelsea is never ending.
Come on. Let's get a hard-hitting question.
My hard-hitting question: Chelsea, is Bear around?
He was just like munching and crunching, being as annoying as he could, and now he's run away. So I picked him up when Karl was on, and I was like in backstage. I just like picked him up and cradled him like a baby, and I was like, I hope somebody sees somebody in this call. But
that's cute.
Yeah.
Steve, did you ever think about getting into investigative journalism with these really tough questions?
Listen,
you throw out here.
Listen, I'm trying to keep it 100 above board around here. I couldn't.
No, I resonate with that. There's always got to be one that's trying to keep things above board.
Yes, of course.
Listen,
less important digitally than in person. But
they play too much. I'm the one that's got to keep everybody in line around here.
All right. Well, super stoked for you. Glad you got something to look forward to. It's always good to see your face.
Yeah, good to see you all too.
Yep. I'm going to tell you guys about what we got coming up. If I can, or maybe it's not going to do it. What's happening here?
Well, Pete's doing that.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we are.
I'm with it. All right. In 2 weeks, we're taking next week off. December 29th, we have Tiki by the Sea Holiday Edition with the Tiki Alumni Fam. We're going to be making fun drinks, talking about next year, plans, what we learned, whatever, and all that. And then, Steve, back to you. You had something you wanted to say?
No, I was just going to talk about how great DeKuyper is and have Chelsea tell us what her favorite flavor is.
Oh, there you go. Let's hear it.
Sucker for peach. I'm a sucker
right?
for peach. Yeah. It's so good.
It's gotten a lot of love. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of peppermint and a lot of butter.
Oh, yeah.
Going on for the holiday.
Yeah. I mean, spoiler alert, because of Ezra's hot tiki last week, maybe I make a hot buttered rum with banana.
Ooh.
Hey now.
No big deal.
Hey now.
I'm thinking about a peppermint Mai Tai.
Oh, nice. You still got that cranberry kicking around?
Oh yeah. I actually got it on the stove right now.
Chelsea, I was going to say, maybe you just like hang a sign in your window for whenever Aaron's driving by of like the cane flavors that you want to, Yeah. Where it just like says cranberry fizz. You need me to send you a cranberry fizz neon. I'll do it.
Look. Chelsea has access to it. It's carried a number of stores in the bottom of her apartment
Oh,
building.
see, there you go.
There it is. Like she doesn't even have to like leave the building.
I'm also just like spoiled rotten because I go downstairs and all the people that run the stalls are also friends and have been friends before they opened these stalls.
Right.
And I just like show up and they're like, do you want to try the new cane flavor? And I was like, sure.
So it's so funny. It's so funny. So yeah. Yeah. And then Big Head behind me. You see him? He's
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi, I'm sitting here breathing my COVID-less germs on Aaron.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go. There
What's
you
going on,
Hey.
go.
It's good to see your beautiful faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good to see party order.
I just want to say hi.
Glad you guys are being safe. I don't know how you get the beard actually in that. How, I mean, what's going on in there that you actually get it all up in there?
You wash it, it curls up, and then it fits. Now, like
Wow.
I've learned how to manipulate the curls now.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. The COVID styles. Yes, absolutely. But I think I look officially like Bane now with the full mask.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, between your beard
Oh, wait,
and
we
me
still
bringing
got
back
Karl
my lesbian mullet, we're
Karl.
like two peas.
There you go. There you go.
Hey,
There you go. Perfect timing. I didn't know if you'd still be around. Let's say goodbye.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Great having everybody. Good luck. Happy holidays. Let's do it.